Have you ever noticed this scary moment when something happens that should trigger you? An email from your boss, a cold reply from your partner, a nasty comment online, and your body gets ready to react, but nothing happens. No explosion, no spiral, just a quiet pause. Most people think that's you shutting down. What if it's actually you waking up? In this video, I'm going to share 4 strange experiences that show up when your inner awareness starts sharpening. What some people call a third eye opening, but what the ancient Stoics simply called clarity. And stay with me to the end, because the 4th one is the most misunderstood. It can make you feel lonely at first, but it's also the moment your life stops being controlled by patterns you didn't even know you were repeating. Let's make this clear right away. We're not talking about mystical visions or secret symbols. No incense, no superpowers. This is about something more useful and honestly, more uncomfortable. There comes a point when life stops feeling random. Not because the world suddenly becomes kinder, but because you become clearer. You start noticing how much of your suffering isn't coming from the event itself, but from the story your mind builds around it. If you're in your 30s or 40s, you've probably felt this. You've seen enough to know life isn't fair. You've also seen enough to know that reacting the same way every time is expensive. Expensive in stress, in relationships, in sleep, in health. I'm not sharing this as someone who has mastered anything. I'm sharing it as someone who's reacted first and understood myself later. If you've ever thought, why do I keep doing this to myself? You're not alone. So here's what we'll do today. We'll walk through 4 experiences. 1. Emotional noise loses its grip. 2. You become painfully honest about your own illusions. 3. You detach from the crowd's noise without becoming cold. 4. You start seeing patterns other people miss. For each one, I'll connect it to real moments, work, family, social media, everyday pressure, and I'll give you a practical Stoic way to handle it. One small action you can actually use this week. And at the end, I'll show you the one mistake most people make when they wake up. They mistake clarity for isolation. All right, let's get into it. 1. Emotional noise loses power. The first strange experience is not a sign in the sky. It's silence. Not the silence of the world. The silence inside you. You still feel anger. You still feel fear. You still want things. But the feeling no longer grabs the steering wheel. Here's what that looks like in real life. You're driving. Someone cuts you off. Old you. Heart racing, jaw tight. Maybe you chase them with your eyes for the next mile, replaying what you should have done. New you. You still get the surge, but you notice it like weather passing through. You exhale. You let it move on. Or this one. Your phone buzzes. It's a message from someone who usually drains you. Maybe a family member, maybe a coworker who always needs something. Before, you'd feel that instant irritation and answer from it. Now you pause and think, I can respond, but I don't have to respond from my worst emotion. And here's a big one for a lot of people. You're in a meeting and someone takes credit for your work. You feel the heat rise in your chest. But instead of jumping in with sarcasm or passive aggression, you hold the line. You ask one clean question. You make one clear point. You handle it like an adult who respects themselves. That pause is everything. Epictetus said it plainly. It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. When inner sight sharpens, you start catching the judgment in real time. You notice the sentence your mind writes automatically. He disrespected me. She doesn't care. They're trying to embarrass me. And then you realize that sentence is not reality. It's an interpretation. This can feel unsettling at first, because many of us were trained to believe intense emotion means we're alive, passionate, real. But the Stoics saw something different. True power begins when emotion is observed, not obeyed. And let's be honest, most of our regrets come from emotional obedience. The text you sent in anger, the argument where you wanted to win, and then you lost something bigger. Trust. The night you couldn't sleep because your mind kept replaying a moment that was already over. So if you've ever looked back and thought, that wasn't even me, that's not weakness. That's you noticing the difference between you and your impulse. Here's a simple practice: the 2-second gap. When you feel the surge, don't fight it and don't feed it. Label it: anger, fear, ego, shame. Then wait 2 seconds before you speak, type, or decide. 2 seconds doesn't sound like much, but it's long enough to switch from reaction to choice. And choice is where your dignity lives. Try it today with something small: the next annoying notification, the next impatient driver, the next comment that tries to pull you into an argument. And once the noise quiets down, a second experience shows up. One that can sting because it turns the mirror toward you. 2. You see your illusions, and it hurts. The second strange experience is this: you become uncomfortably aware of your own illusions. You start seeing the masks you didn't know you were wearing, the stories you told yourself to feel safe, the "I'm just like this" excuses that kept you from growing. This is the part where people sometimes panic, because clarity doesn't only expose other people, it exposes you. Here's a real example. You tell yourself you're too busy to work out, to read, to build that side project, to fix your marriage. But then you notice how many hours disappear into scrolling, doom news, or stress eating at night. That's not busyness, that's avoidance. Or this: you say you don't care what people think. But one cold look from a colleague can ruin your whole day. One post that doesn't get likes makes you feel invisible. You realize your mood has been rented out to strangers. And there's a deeper one most people don't talk about. Sometimes you chase validation because you're tired, trying to feel enough without building a life you respect. This moment can sting because it feels like betrayal by your own mind. But what's really happening is honesty. Seneca warned about this trap in his own way. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. When your inner awareness opens, you start seeing how much pain you create by predicting, rehearsing, and reliving. You worry about a conversation that hasn't happened. You replay a mistake that's already over. You build a future disaster in your head, and then your body reacts like it's real. And the cost is brutal. You're tired even when nothing happened. You're anxious on a good day. You're present physically, but mentally, you're always somewhere else. Defending yourself, proving yourself, preparing for an attack. It's like living in a constant emergency that only exists in your imagination. If that describes you, here's the good news. Your mind learned this, which means it can unlearn it. You don't fix this by shaming yourself. You fix it by getting precise. Use a Stoic reset. Separate facts from story. Try this in the moment. Write or say the fact in one sentence with no extra meaning. His tone was short. The project deadline changed. She didn't reply today. That's it. Then notice the story your mind adds. He doesn't respect me. I'm going to fail. She's losing interest. Now you can work with it, because you can see it. And here's a second step that helps. Ask, what's the smallest action that would move me forward right now? Not the perfect action, not the heroic one, the smallest one. Send the email, take the walk, apologize, set the boundary, close the app. Epictetus had a hard line for this. Be content to be thought foolish, and do not wish to be thought wise. In modern language, stop living for the performance. Stop building a personality just to protect your ego. Let reality be reality, even if it bruises your pride. Because once you stop protecting illusions, you get something better. Peace that doesn't depend on applause. And when you stop chasing illusions, something else happens. You start changing what you give your attention to. And this is where people around you may start noticing a difference. 3. You detach from noise without becoming cold. The third experience feels strange because it can look like distance. You detach from noise, crowds, shallow talk, and constant opinion. Not because you hate people, not because you think you're better, but because you finally see the price of staying plugged in. You notice how modern life is built to hijack your nervous system. Notifications, breaking news, outrage cycles. Everybody is reacting and calling it being informed. Here's the scene. You open your phone in the morning just to check something. 20 minutes later, your chest is tight. You've absorbed 3 disasters, 2 arguments, and 1 random stranger's opinion about how you should live, and you haven't even had coffee. Or this, you're with friends, but the conversation is just gossip and complaining. You laugh, but afterward you feel emptier. Not because you're antisocial, because your mind is craving something real. And if you've ever tried to be calmer, you've probably learned this. You can't meditate your way out of a life that keeps pouring poison into your attention. When this awareness grows, you start choosing quiet more often. You stop oversharing. You stop explaining your plans to people who don't protect them. You stop seeking validation from rooms that don't even know you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." That's not morbid. It's a filter. It means stop wasting your limited attention on what doesn't matter. A lot of burnout isn't from doing too much. It's from carrying too much noise, too many opinions, too many emotional responsibilities that were never yours. And when you detach, you may feel something scary. You might feel lonely, because you're no longer entertained by what used to distract you. But loneliness isn't always a problem. Sometimes it's a sign you're not hiding anymore. Sometimes it's the quiet space where you finally hear what you actually think. So here's a practical Stoic move: the attention budget. Pick 1 daily limit for noise. No social media before noon. News once a day, not all day. Mute 1 group chat that drains you. Replace 10 minutes of scrolling with 10 minutes of walking. Then, when you feel the urge to jump back into noise, ask, is this feeding my life or feeding my anxiety? You're not quitting the world. You're choosing what enters your mind. And when your attention becomes cleaner, the 4th experience arrives. This is the one that changes your future, because it changes what you tolerate. 4. You start seeing patterns other people miss. The 4th experience is not supernatural, it's pattern recognition. You start seeing cause and effect more clearly, in people, in work, in relationships, and in yourself. But here's the important part. This isn't about feeling smarter than others. It's about being less fooled by your own hope. For example, you notice how certain people act kind only when they're getting something. You notice how they disappear when you set a boundary. You used to take it personally. Now you see it as a pattern, not a mystery. Or maybe you notice a pattern in yourself. Every time you feel rejected, you over-explain. Every time you feel uncertain, you procrastinate. Every time you feel behind, you compare yourself to people online and then hate yourself for it. This clarity can feel heavy, because it means you can't blame bad luck for everything anymore. You see how your choices shape your outcomes. And yes, that's uncomfortable, but it's also freeing. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." In other words, the life you want is not a mood, it's a pattern. A lot of people stay stuck because they keep treating recurring problems like separate events. Every argument feels new. Every toxic relationship feels like, this time it's different. Every financial mess feels like bad timing. But patterns tell the truth. And when you see them, you stop paying the same price again and again. Now let's close that open loop from the beginning. Here's the mistake most people make when they reach this level of clarity. They start thinking, if I see the patterns, I shouldn't need anyone. They turn awareness into isolation. They cut people off instead of setting healthy boundaries. They withdraw instead of communicating. That's not Stoicism. That's fear dressed up as strength. Real clarity doesn't make you colder, it makes you cleaner. It helps you love people without losing yourself. Here's the action step. Do a pattern audit. Pick one area: your stress, your relationships, your work, your money, your habits. Then ask 3 questions. 1. What keeps repeating? 2. What do I keep doing right before it repeats? 3. What's one boundary or habit I can change this week to break the loop? Keep it small. One change. Because the goal isn't to become a different person overnight. The goal is to stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. 4. You start seeing patterns other people miss. The 4th experience is not supernatural, it's pattern recognition. You start seeing cause and effect more clearly, in people, in work, in relationships, and in yourself. But here's the important part. This isn't about feeling smarter than others. It's about being less fooled by your own hope. For example, you notice how certain people act kind only when they're getting something. You notice how they disappear when you set a boundary. You used to take it personally. Now you see it as a pattern, not a mystery. Or maybe you notice a pattern in yourself. Every time you feel rejected, you over-explain. Every time you feel uncertain, you procrastinate. Every time you feel behind, you compare yourself to people online and then hate yourself for it. This clarity can feel heavy because it means you can't blame bad luck for everything anymore. You see how your choices shape your outcomes. And yes, that's uncomfortable, but it's also freeing. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." In other words, the life you want is not a mood, it's a pattern. A lot of people stay stuck because they keep treating recurring problems like separate events. Every argument feels new. Every toxic relationship feels like, this time it's different. Every financial mess feels like bad timing. But patterns tell the truth. And when you see them, you stop paying the same price again and again. Now let's close that open loop from the beginning. Here's the mistake most people make when they reach this level of clarity. They start thinking, if I see the patterns, I shouldn't need anyone. They turn awareness into isolation. They cut people off instead of setting healthy boundaries. They withdraw instead of communicating. That's not Stoicism. That's fear dressed up as strength. Real clarity doesn't make you colder, it makes you cleaner. It helps you love people without losing yourself. Here's the action step. Do a pattern audit. Pick one area: your stress, your relationships, your work, your money, your habits. Then ask 3 questions. 1. What keeps repeating? 2. What do I keep doing right before it repeats? 3. What's one boundary or habit I can change this week to break the loop? Keep it small. One change. Because the goal isn't to become a different person overnight. The goal is to stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. So let's bring it home. If your inner awareness is sharpening, if you feel like you're waking up, you might notice these 4 strange experiences. 1. Emotional noise loses power. You still feel, but you don't get dragged. 2. You see your own illusions, not to punish yourself, but to be free. 3. You detach from noise, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. 4. You see patterns, and once you see them, you can finally choose a new direction. None of this is mystical. It's practical. Clarity in a world designed to distract you. And if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. You don't need a new life to feel calmer. You need a new relationship with your mind. If you're feeling strange, it might not be a breakdown. It might be your mind upgrading. If this hit close to home, hit like and subscribe for more Stoic tools you can use in real life. Now I want to hear from you. Which of the 4 experiences have you felt lately? Silence, honesty, detachment, or pattern recognition? Drop one word in the comments. I read them, and it helps me shape the next videos for what you're actually living through.